Tailgate Jake here. This video will cover the full disassembly of a Tuff Torq transmission out of a zero turn. This particular model of transmission came out of a John Deere Zero turn. The transmission was not propelling the mower forward or backward hardly at all. My theory is that the springs for the pump have broke. The purpose of this video is to not only explain the transmission's weaknesses, but to also show you that you may not need that $350 rebuild kit. If my theory proves correct, then all you need to do is replace the springs, which can be purchased at a local hardware store for actually just a few dollars. The transmission has 3 pry points that you can actually pull off that bottom plate with, and it's as easy as just taking a flathead screwdriver and prying at all sides. There are 3 small debris magnets located within the transmission. What you see here is actually the transmission's filter, and you can tell that it is extremely clogged. What I'm pointing at here, there are 2 little pins that you line the face of that pump up with. I'm removing a small drive pin as of right now. Very easy to lose. Make sure you put that in a very safe place. This is the only part of the video that may get a little confusing. Where I have my right hand there's actually supposed to be one of those black washers. It had actually slid down into the transmission. You see me actually getting it out right here. So the next step is to remove the actual pump itself. Please note that the 2 bolts at the top are actually just a little bit shorter than the one at the bottom. So this is probably the most important part of this whole operation. One thing that you have got to pay attention to is this piece right here, because it will control whether your mower goes forward or reverse when reinstalled. And I have got it backwards before, and the transmission had to be pulled again. Please take lots and lots of pictures whenever you're taking this apart. Just because mine looks like this in the video doesn't mean that yours will look like this when you open yours up. There's a short side to this housing and a long side to that housing. So whenever you take it apart, you have to pay attention to which one was on top. Now that the pump has been totally removed, you can see the short side and the long side. Again, in this transmission, the long side was down, but that does not mean that your transmission will be the same. In order to remove this snap ring, you'll have to put a little bit of pressure there on the back of that housing and squeeze it towards the gear drive in order to get that removed. So how the pump gets its pressure from is from that piece spinning and those cylinders moving in and out. But if the springs are broke, you're not going to have any pressure. So we're about to find out if my theory was correct. From the looks of it, we only had 1 working spring. The others were all broke. So once you get to this step, if you're not seeing any broken springs and everything is actually looking like it's not broken, you might actually have to get a new pump, as your pump may have faulted internally. The inside of that housing has what they call a thrust roller bearing, and you have to pay attention as the inner washer is actually just a little bit thinner than that outer washer. One thing to always check is your pump, and you can tell I'm actually pulling out another piece of the broken spring. Whenever I had added air to it later on, I didn't get it in the video, but more parts of the spring actually came dislodged from that pump. Typically on the gear pump that actually determines if the mower is going to go forward or reverse, you won't find many broke springs, but it's still a good idea to check. We have another one of those thrust roller bearings, and again the same principle applies. The thin washer will be on the inside of that housing. This next piece is very small, but it does have a direction to it. There's a small line on there. This deals with the parking brake and how it squeezes the round drum that goes on the actual pump. Next, you're going to see me remove the parking brake assembly. It actually had a double dowel pin set up, and it took some pins to actually get it out of there. You do have to get the inner one out first, and then you can get the outer one out next. Please be patient. It eventually will come. So one thing with these transmissions, and I have done it plenty of times before, you may not actually have to break it down this far. The only reason that I'm doing that is for video references and also because of the level of rust on the inside. However, if you had dove into this and you realized that all you had was the broke springs, then you may roll the dice and just try replacing the springs without replacing the pump. Again, it is a gamble. If worse comes to worse and say that it doesn't work, you have to pull the transmission again and go ahead and replace the pump. That is the absolute worst that could happen. So this seal right here has to be removed before you can get to the inner snap ring in order to remove that shaft. You'll see me removing one of the gears here. It's one of my last steps. That small washer does go towards the center of that, just as shown. I have done more than a few transmissions like this, and this was the first one that I actually had to remove that seal. It had been broken and was leaking. That very well could have been part of the reason that this transmission was faulty as well. It was low on fluid. However, if your seal is good, then most likely you're going to be okay. At this point, you have successfully taken apart your whole transmission. Please watch part 2 for the reassembly.